Hi everyone, it's Wednesday today and we are looking at narratives in writing. Now on Monday we looked at characters, so which comes at the start of the story as well as the setting. We always introduce the characters and the setting of the story, and then after that it's time to start our plot. Now the plot of the story involves the problem. It involves the solution as well. We'll talk a bit more about that as we go on. Okay, today is Wednesday. Our learning intention, the problem in a story. So we're really going to focus on the problem, which is here. So every story needs a big problem in the story and even mini problems as well. To be successful, I know the story has a big problem and mini problems. I know that the main character faces the problem. So the main character in every story, I want you to try and connect to some of your favorite movies. You know, when I think of narratives, straight away I think to Lion King, I think to Toy Story, I think to Finding Nemo. They all got big problems in those stories. The main characters face big problems. All right, so we'll look at this back to this slide here, which was on the previous few days. A narrative is a form of writing, tells a story. So we've got the main characters, the setting, the big problem and mini problems, and then the solution, which we'll talk about tomorrow. So let's go back to our chart. Okay, so we're about to go up our roller coaster. A narrative is like a roller coaster. We introduce character setting at the start. We also need to introduce the big problem, and that big problem should last throughout the whole story. Let's talk a little bit about the plot, because the problem of the story is part of the plot. It's part of the plot. Okay, so the plot, I'm just going to read up here, have a look while I'm reading. The plot is the word used to describe the series of events. Where do you remember hearing series of events from? Our recounts. So we know all about series of events. So we talk about all the events that happen in the story. The plot should have plenty of action. You're going to hear me saying that word quite a lot. Action. So there should be a big problem that lasts throughout the whole story and other mini problems as well. So we're going to think of the movie Finding Nemo. So with the movie Finding Nemo, the main character actually isn't Nemo. It's not Nemo because they were finding Nemo the whole story. The main character was Nemo's dad, Marlin. And the big problem in the story, it wasn't the shark. The shark was actually one of the mini problems. The big problem in the story or in the plot was Nemo got lost. He was lost underwater in a dangerous place throughout the whole, and the whole story was trying to find Nemo. So that was the big problem. He was lost for nearly the whole movie. Then Marlin and Dory, they encountered many problems along the way, like the shark, and then the humans took them out of the water, and they had to try and get back into the water to continue finding Nemo. And then at the very end, so after the roller coaster, after all of this happened, at the very end was the resolution, which is when they found Nemo. But we'll talk about the resolution, how we fix the problem. That's how we fix the problem. Talk about that tomorrow. So the stories, it should have a beginning, middle, and end. There is a video that you can watch. It's the link is connected on under classwork writing. So it talks a bit more about what a problem is, but we'll talk a little bit about it now. So another word for problem is conflict. So they mean the same thing. Conflict, problem means the same thing. Now, a problem, or the conflict is the problem in the story that needs to be resolved. So there's something bad that's happened and it needs to be resolved, which will happen later in the story. Okay, and it should last throughout the whole story. Every great narrative has lots of action. The characters are put in danger. Okay, so your main character should be put in danger, and then he or she works their way out. Okay. All right, I'm going to make another video to explain what your